I don't think I have the Google Drive.
We'll get you done here in a second.
Randall, unfortunately, I don't have that option.
What, hit record?
Yeah, I can't record.
Seth is in charge. He's the host with the
Yes,
most.
I know, but I'm Seth.
Me too.
We're all
Thank you. The one who has authority, please hit record. Thank you.
I'll hit record at the same time.
What is the other thing? Oh, a G drive. Okay. All right.
Okay, let's, looks like we got the first couple points done here. We did do the harp masterclass today. Thank you for those of you that participated, and that seemed like it went really well and got some good stuff going for that.
It was great.
Keep in mind the way the week is progressing here. Today is the day when you really need to be able to get things mostly laid out in your piece and kind of start to see to the end. What I've noticed in working with this group of people, and it's pretty much every year we have some people that are overachievers and they write like 2 or 3 minutes of music every day. And a bunch of you guys at this point probably have all the music you need. You just need to go back and kind of whip it into shape and make it really good music, and avoid the temptation to just let it kind of drone on and on. And we've got a few of those folks. So 2 or 3 minutes of really quality, interesting music would be better than 4 or 5 minutes of drivel. That's the thing to remember if you think you might be that kind of person. We also have some folks in the group that are the other opposite, and you're a perfectionist and you just can't bring yourself to put a note down on the page until you're sure it's the perfect note to put down on the page. And right now you're like 20 seconds into your piece, and you're starting to freak out a little bit. So what we need from you guys is just get some stuff down. Just spit it out on the page, so to speak, and your private lessons teacher is going to help you whip it into shape. But don't be afraid to write. Just let it go, write your music, and you'll be surprised how quickly it comes together if you can just get it out. So today's the day when we need to make some really good headway on that. And then, of course, by the end of the day tomorrow, we need to be able to have parts and scores ready to go. This afternoon, I'm going to be doing a salon talking about preparing your music to release to the performers. You guys, those of you that have been at our camps before, you know we always do this, but I want to emphasize this point a little bit this year because unlike other years, you're not going to be able to sit next to your performers the whole time that they prepare it and play it for you. You're going to be sending it off to them, and whatever you send off to them on Friday night is going to be what they do. And I think I can speak for them in saying they're not going to feel obligated to call you on the phone and have a session with you while they prepare each one of your pieces. They're going to be just laying it down. And so the information that you give them on the score is what you get. And that's why it's so important to think carefully about what you're putting in front of them. And so we're going to talk about that today in the salon, and your teachers will no doubt coach you in your lessons on that point as well. So we'll say more about how to submit your parts and what to do in the recording process. Let's talk about the program information. So we are going to do a virtual program. And so we need your name, which presumably will not be Seth Custer at that point in time. We need the title of your piece. Everybody needs to have a title. And I think we've done some threats in the past that if you don't submit a title, then we title your music for you. I know I've done that for my students here at school a time or two. And it usually ends up pretty funny for us and not so funny for you. So you do want to come up with a title if you haven't already. And am I remembering correctly that we have a Google form that can be filled out with that information?
Not yet, but it will be soon. We'll send out a survey, another survey later today, and folks can fill that out and just send it back to us, and it'll have all of these areas. You'll have the name of the composer, Seth Custer, title, and you need to give us a rough estimate of how long it is, and the acoustic players that are going to be joining along with the electronics, if there are electronics.
Okay, and what needs to be said about the G drive, Randall?
There was somebody who just, if you have something that needs to go into the drive, send it to Composers Online Institute with one S at gmail.com. That's it.
Okay. And then how about thank yous?
I don't know. That's Mary Kate.
Yeah. Can I add one more thing about the program really quick?
Yep.
So how we're going to do the programs this year is going to be a Google slideshow. And you're going to have the option to design your slides. So either later today, early tomorrow, you're going to get an invitation to edit the slideshow. And each slide will have a designated person. So you'll look for the slide with your name on it, and then you can design it how you want. And what we're going to do is have your title, your name, and then you can edit it how you want, and then there will be a link for your song. And so the deadline for that will be Sunday by 7 p.m. So does that make, everything I just say?
Actually, I think it'd be helpful to have, so you're saying two deadlines. One is for the Google slide, but we need information for is it 7 o'clock for all of that program information as well, or do you care?
You mean as far as like number of minutes and acoustic players and all that stuff?
Yeah.
It makes no difference to me. It might be easier to have one deadline.
Yeah, I think so. Good.
Okay, so we're good on programs then. Then thank yous. For those of you who have received scholarship money, we have to thank the people who sent you money. So you'll be receiving an email from me listing the people that you want to thank. So then you'll respond to my email with what you want your thank you note to be. And then I'll go ahead and put that in a document and send it out. But then on top of that, we're going to take a group picture tomorrow on Zoom. So if you happen to have a junior composer shirt from however many years you've gone to camp, go ahead and wear that tomorrow. If you don't have a junior composer shirt, that's okay. But if you do, go ahead and wear it, and we'll take our group picture.
What time? What time?
During the check-in.
Okay. Good. Great.
I think it would also be funny if we got a group It's All About Seth picture today, since everybody's names are Seth Custer, but
I don't know how to do the screenshot with all of the things. Do you know how to do that, Mary Kate?
yeah, I can do that.
All right, so we'll, at the end of this, we can do that. Seth, I wanted to point out one thing to remind folks, just to anticipate and to plan tomorrow, which is Friday, at 7 o'clock is the deadline for sending scores and scores and parts. This is for the acoustic players only. So if you don't have any acoustic players, this is not a deadline for you. But if you have any acoustic players that are recording, you need to send it to this email, this one right here, that one. And I will be putting this agenda up on the Google Drive in our shared composers shared folder. And then you can use this if you need to review. It'll be there for you in a minute.
I do have a question on that, Randall, while we're talking about it. If they send their parts to that place, will that dump everybody's parts in one big bin so that they have to be sorted out by someone else after the fact?
Yeah.
So they need to be labeled in a certain way so that we don't lose our minds.
Thank you.
We absolutely need composer names on the part itself, but it would also be helpful if you could include your last name in the label of your part. So, so if you send your part, I would send mine in Custer Cello or something like that. So make sure it's clearly labeled so it gets to the right place.
Yeah. Okay. Last name and part and instrument. Okay.
Should we label the title of the actual email with that?
Yes, you might as well. Thank you.
Okay. And then did we already talk about the survey that's sent today?
We were just talking about it now, just a few seconds ago. Under this survey is the program information.
Right. Okay.
You
yeah,
don't.
right.
You don't need. You need to use Seth Custer's name. Let's just do it this way. Your name, title, to whatever the number, the duration.
Okay. Did all the Zoom links and everything work okay yesterday? Was there any problem getting in and out of theory classes?
No, I don't think there was any problem. It all worked.
Seemed like it worked well. Let's talk about theory classes real quick. Randall, do you want to say something about the 7 elements of comedy?
Yes, it is a writing workshop. Bring paper and pencil or software notation for your own use. We will be composing at least one funny thing using the 7 elements, and it is a study in, or an exercise in intentionality and using the 7 elements of comedy.
Okay. And Eric.
So yesterday, if you were at the infamous Randall Davidson salon, you'll know some of the stuff we talked about. We talked about MIDI. We talked about recording and blending MIDI with audio and stuff. And yesterday at my theory class, we talked about editing MIDI for drums. So today we're going to be talking about editing MIDI. I have sort of a string quartet. So if you have MIDI that you pulled from MuseScore or something into your DAW, I'm going to show you how you can kind of edit it to make it sound more realistic and more musical, because a lot of the MIDI that you export from a notation software sounds pretty robotic. So I'm going to show you some ways to smooth that out. And then I'll show you some basic mixing tips. I know someone wanted to do something with compression. I can show you how to do that. I can show you more stuff about EQ, reverb, really basic stuff. It's not too complex, but I'll show you some cool tools. And then I'll basically be fielding questions, like any questions people want to know about their DAW. So a lot.
Okay. And Sarah.
Okay. My class always writes a canon at Junior Composers. So if you have funny things you want to have put into the canon, you need to be there today. We're going to just do it all today. And then possibly we'll record it and have someone put it together in a DAW. Sound cool?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to pick a tempo and all of that. So it'll be a comedy, canonically, and I have learned a new way of writing a canon, which will be kind of interesting. We will try that today. So those of you who've done it before, it's going to be a little different today.
Cool. I will be covering some more minimalism today. Yesterday, those of you that were in my session know that we talked about the beginnings of minimalism, where it came from, and some of the backdrop for how it came about in the 20th century. And today we're going to be talking about some of the ways that it's used more extensively in a style that has been called post-minimalism. And the way I like to think of that is how to use minimalistic techniques in the sort of music that you and I would write in a modern era. And there's lots of cool ways. It's a little bit less extreme than it was originally. And I would say it's a little bit more attractive for the average listener in the way that it's used now. So we'll listen to some cool music today and then talk about how it's put together. We already went over what we're going to do in the salon today, which is score and part preparation. And so join us at 3 p.m. Central to do that. And then I think you guys know the drill for the rest of the day. Have the lounges been going well? I've heard that they have. Anything in particular, Eric, that you guys will do tonight, or is it just hanging out?
Last night we were talking about the populations of different states. So tonight we might be expanding that to the rest of North America.
All right, that sounds good.
But I know I'll be there tonight, and it'll just be any questions that you have, any pieces you want to share. It'll probably be, since we're kind of getting to the end of the week. It'll mostly be a support kind of lounge. I'll be there. You, Laura, will be there. So if you have any questions or you're having trouble with anything tonight or you're freaking out, come to the lounge. It'll be chill. Oh, yeah.
I want to know if you've got all your lessons set for Seth, Sarah, and Eric.
My lessons are going to be the same as they have been.
Okay. Sarah?
Mine are all set.
Good. Seth?
Let me just go through this real quick. If it's okay with you guys, I would like to meet with Kevin at noon, Winston at 12:20, AJ at 12:40. And then I had been, before I had scheduled Joe at 2, Jeremy 2:20, Josiah at 2:40.
You still want to do those times?
Yeah, I'd like to do those times. And then if you guys could just text me or email me separately if that doesn't work, I will plan on those times as we've been doing with the same link that we used yesterday.
Great. Cool. Record time.
Anything else? All right, guys. Thanks for your work. It seems like everybody's doing a good job. We're having as much fun as we possibly could have in a virtual setting.
Do you want to take a Zoom shot, Mary Kate?
Yeah, let's do a picture.
Yep.
Stop sharing so we don't have that on there.
Okay.
Can we first take a picture of all the Seth Custers?
Yes, that's a
Yeah,
great
that's
idea.
what we're doing. Okay, so ready?
Do you have everybody? It's on 2 pages in my view. Can you see both pages?
I can see everyone, I think. I don't have 2 pages.
Can we get all the Seth Custers from Minnesota in the first picture?
Just
And then we'll get
breakout
all the
room?
Seth Custers from Iowa next.
And all the Seth Custers who are 6 feet or taller, and all the female Seth Custers.
Okay, can everyone turn their camera on, please, just for the picture? And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna point to wherever Seth, the real Seth is in reference to
There we are.
Okay.
We're not all showing in the same, we're not all pointing in the same direction.
I know. That's why it'll be funny because all of our names say Seth Custer. Okay. Let me see. Oh shoot. Oh, it doesn't say Seth. Okay. Anyway, 1, 2,
2,
3.
There we go.
Got it.
Great.
Okay. And then one more. We're gonna all say it's all about Seth.
Everybody on mute.
Yeah, take your mutes off. Although
So it's
this
gonna
is
be kind of interesting because we've got the lag.
This is not a video, so it's just us lipping, mouth with our mouths open. And we should do it all about Seth.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's
all about Seth.
Seth.
Thanks.
All right, good.
Have a good day, guys.
Nine.